to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. So, you guys, I've got a special treat tonight. I've got a good friend, well, a new friend that's going to be a good friend. His name is Joaquin, and he is here to share his story of recovery. So, I'm super excited about it. I'm just waiting for him to sign on now. And what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for him to join me, I'm going to start sending this live stream out to you guys wherever you are. Hey Lou, hey Cindy. So this is the first like kind of live stream style interview I've done besides the ones that I do with Dr. B. So you guys bear with me and let me make sure that everything's set up right. Can you guys hear me really good? And yes, I have my hair's going wild. Okay. Oh yeah, there we are. Okay, what's up, you guys? Share. Let me get this to everywhere I need to get it. Perfecto. Good deal. Awesome. Okay. And I'm on a little bit early, you guys, because he actually has to do an intervention. So that's comes first. Helping others, is a huge part of my recovery, and I'm sure, and it's a part of his recovery also. And I'm sure he's going to share all about that with you guys. So I'm super excited. Thank you guys for showing up and being here to support me, because I was really nervous. I was like, oh my God, is anybody going to be able to come? Because I had it scheduled for later. So I'm super, super excited. Okay, so it sounds good. Hey, Leonard. Hey, Cindy. Hey, guys. I'm so glad you guys are here. Like, you all don't understand. I'm going to tweet this out so that way. Hey, Michelle. Thank you so much for being here. You are not late. You're perfect. How's everybody's day going? I hope you guys are all having a great day. I've really been having a good day. I've just been chilling. I just went and got Nate. Hey, John, what's up? Hey, Kim, I'm glad you're here. All right. My people, y'all are all here. Good deal. And you guys know how it is. So when I go live, hey, Jamie, what's up, girl? I always try to just, share my experience with you guys and kind of like let y'all know what it was like for me when I was in my active addiction, what it was like before I started using, and what it's like now. And so that's kind of exactly what Joaquin is going to do. He's just going to share his experience, strength, and hope, what it was like before, what it was like during, and what it's like now. And he has so many accomplishments that he's going to be able to share with you guys. And I really think that you guys will get a lot of inspiration from him, because I'm inspired. One day I hope that I can build my channel up to a bigger channel and have the opportunity to help people all over, and, start my own halfway house and all that kind of stuff. And he has so many things that he's going to be able to share with you guys that y'all will see that are so inspiring. So I'm really, really excited to hear his story, because this is going to be my first time to hear his story also. So Cindy's going to be a grandma, you guys. Cindy, did you tell everybody yet in the chat? She just found out that she's going to be a grandma. So happy Grandma's Day to you, Cindy. That's going to be so exciting. And Michelle, how are you doing? How's everything going with your life? Good? I think I sent it out. Let me make sure I did. I know, that's awesome. Your first grandchild. That's a huge accomplishment. Your daughter's going to be such a good mom. Leonard, how's it going? What's going on with you? Leonard put up a video today, you guys, talking about, like, we only have one life to live, right? And so a lot of us, I know I do, I get caught up in, worrying about what people think about me and letting negativity affect me, and what it ends up doing is it totally brings down my whole, hey Amy, my whole demeanor. It makes me sad, makes me, hurt on the inside. And he's so right. Like we can't focus on, hurtful things that maybe people are saying about us, or, letting people affect what we're trying to do, because we're all trying to do. What's up? Can you hear me? Let me add you to, hold on.
All right. Wow, this is pretty crazy the way that I'm trying to I have to look at you here, but I want to see myself there.
I know. I'm the same way. I just kind of like, okay, well, welcome to my channel. This is my channel, Real Talk Recovery. I'm so excited to have you, and I can't wait to hear your story. So, wherever you want to begin, you just begin. Let everybody know all the accomplishments that you've accomplished. Let them know about Clean and Sober Love. Do your thing. I'm just going to listen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, what's up, family, everybody out there? My name's Joaquin, and I identify myself as an addict. If I'm in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm an alcoholic. To me, it's all the same. I suffer from a disease that is trying to kill me, right? If I let it, if I choose to let it, it will. And it's out there waiting. And so, real I won't get too into the war stories, but so that I am from Miami, um, born and raised Little Havana. I grew up in a time where we used to play outside. This is before Nintendo. Nintendo came out when I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, or 10, something like that. So I just played outside, man. I was your typical little kid. I would watch my Knight Rider and A Team and GI Joe and all that kind of stuff. And I, my mother, my grandfather, and my grandmother raised me. My father disappeared when I was 3 years old. So my father figure was my grandfather, and he was awesome. He was, he'd take me to school every day. He would feed me. He he would patrol me, right? And and that was my father figure. When I was little, he would take me from house to house, picking up these little slips. And then on Fridays we'd pick up money. This is before the lottery, right? So,
Okay.
yeah. So, it was. It was that type of life, and my grandfather was like the man on my block, right? So he used to drink, he used to smoke cigarettes, and he was the man. um I got disciplined pretty hard as a kid, like everybody else on my block. Back then it was like you got an ass whooping. Like everybody caught an ass whooping. Come 7 o'clock at night, you were gonna catch an ass whooping. So, that's the way it was for me, and all my little neighbors, right? All the kids, on my street. So I kind of feel like I got it the worst. But whatever. It is what it is. So anyway, I'll tell you about my first drink. I think I want to say I was around 7, and what
Mm-hmm.
happened was that it was time for my grandfather to whoop my ass, right? But this day I'm like, hell no, not this time, right? So I'm like, okay. So I go and I hide in my mom's closet, and I I'm hiding there, and I'm sitting on a pile of clothes, and in front of me is the bottle of Bacardi Superior. There's everything else, but that's the one that stood out, right? So there was like Bailey's Irish Cream, Kahlua. There was all this other stuff, but the Bacardi Superior with the handle on it, with the label, right? It was like, right? So I
I can see it now, like, ah.
right. So it's not like I put two and two together that if I drank, I'd feel better or anything like that. um, I just kind of did what I knew. You know, everybody drank, right? So, you know, I picked up the bottle and I just started chugging. And I chugged and I chugged and I chugged and I chugged and I closed it, I put it down, and that was it. I forgot what the hell I was doing in the closet, right? I was drunk. So I walk out of the closet and there's my grandfather and he whooped my ass.
Yeah.
Um, I'll tell you what, look, that ass whooping wasn't half as bad as they usually were. So that's what I started to do. I started to drink like that every day. I I picked up playing the trumpet when my neighbor Georgie, um, you know, he was the coolest kid, right? You know, he was older. He played the trumpet. He used to break dance. So like, I started hanging out with Georgie, and he taught me how to break dance, and he taught me how to play the trumpet. Not good or anything, but I you know, kind of caught the interest for it. I go into middle school, and I started playing trumpet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like the only thing that I ever did good, right? Because in elementary school and middle school, like I didn't ever do any homework. My mom worked. My my grandparents were super fucking Spanish, right? So like nobody did any work with me. So like the trumpet was the only thing that I ever excelled at. And my mom would come to my little concerts, and all of that was super cool. Now I was very introverted in the way that I wasn't cool by any means. I was kind of like this little band nerd kid, and I had my little clique, right? Um, but I was very, very like socially awkward because I had a lot of anxieties, a lot of insecurities because I sucked at school, right? So like I
Mm-hmm.
was never honor roll, nothing, never no AB, nothing, none of that stuff, right? Um, if anything, I was the kid that when you would call on me, I would freeze, you know, and want to cry.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, and I I go into high school and I'm 13 years old, and I tried smoking pot for the first time, and dude, I fell in love. I fell in love. I fell in love with smoking pot. It was for all you that know the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. When Bill says in his story that he felt like he had arrived,
Yeah.
that moment, it's almost like a moment of clarity where this is what life is,
Right. This is what I've been looking for all along.
right? So
Yeah.
that's what happened. I smoked my first joint, and like that was it. Like I had arrived, and it was everything I was looking for. I laughed hard. Um, I had none of those insecurities, nothing like that. It was good old fashioned fun, you know. So I started to smoke every day, and so look, my story is definitely different from a lot of people's. I
Mm-hmm.
had the very progressive downward spiral. Like it was fast. 4 months after I smoked my first joint, I snorted coke and I started smoking crack within 4 months. So I was 13 years old doing all these things.
Yeah.
I Things got really really bad real fast. I I eventually told my mom because I was stealing. I was doing all these things, right? Smoking crack, freebase, little kid.
At 13.
Um,
Right. That's
yeah,
hardcore.
as bad as it gets. So anyway, I told my mom because we were, me and my mom were cool, right? Like I traveled a lot because of my mom. My mom worked for Eastern Airlines. Then she worked for Carnival Cruise Line. So like I traveled a lot. Me and my mom, like we really bonded. We were cool. So I told her, I was like, Mom, look, this is what I'm doing, and she said, Baby, everything's gonna be okay. I love you, and I'll never let anything bad happen to you. And I said, okay, thank you, Mom. So, I ended up going to a series of different treatment centers because I got kicked out of the first two. Um, Not because I'm a badass or anything, it's because like one place was like a mental institution, and I'm not crazy, and then the other place was an outpatient center, and I showed up there with drugs, and everybody relapsed. So they put me in a long term. They put me in a long term residential treatment center for adolescents.
Uh-huh.
So I was there for 10 months with a bunch of like hood rat kids. Um, I mean, these guys were all uh, court ordered to be there, and I was not. I was a band nerd. So at the time, the music was like it was Dr. Dre, Snoop. So gangster rap just started coming out, right? And I am a band nerd who listens to like Casey and the Sunshine Band and like you know jazz and stuff and symphonic music. So that came out, and I had to redefine who I was because I'm in a place with a bunch of kids that are off the chain that'll whoop my ass, right? And I had to change who I was. I had to start walking like them and talking like them and all that stuff. And I changed who I was. Um, I got introduced to AA and NA and all of that at that age, 13.
Uh-huh.
But look, I mean, I was 13, right? So that
Right.
was very hard to grasp. Although I did understand the concepts, I understood what the God thing was. I understood the importance of acceptance, and I got all that. Like I really like, I remember that. I was very very conscious of it. But I was 13. You know what I'm saying? So like, anyway, I leave that place. I make all these friends. These are my super cool friends now, and I go to regular high school where I'm the kid from rehab. Everybody knew. Like I had, and it was like I caught fame for it. Like it was awesome in a sense. I relapsed immediately. Like the first week I got out of rehab, I relapsed. I jumped into the drug world in this new school and took kids down with me
Uh-huh.
fast. Um, Although I still excelled at the trumpet, I jumped into the band. I did all this wonderful, cool stuff with the band. Um, I finagled my way through high school and even managed to get a scholarship to go to college to play trumpet.
Oh
Um,
wow. That's awesome.
so yeah. So anyway, my mom had gotten sick from cancer when I was in my 11th grade year. My mom had breast cancer. She was diagnosed, and I went with her to all the radiation, uh, the chemo, the radiation, and look, she survived. No big deal. I went about my business. I studied abroad and went to Spain, Italy, and came back. And it was my junior year of college, the week of finals, and my mom died. Um, and at the exact same time, my grandfather got sick. He was diabetic, and really really sick. Like at the funeral, I had to take him to the hospital. We had to amputate his toe. I mean, like it was just one bad thing after another. And the only thing that I can come up with was I gotta get high. Like I don't know of any other way to cope with anything. So I I really dove deep. Like it got really dark, really bad, really like all the worst things you can think of. I was doing. The only thing I didn't do was kill somebody. So give me one second. Let me turn that off.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead. I think it froze up, but I can still hear you just fine.
Oh, good. So so the yeah, the only thing I didn't do was kill somebody.
Well, I mean,
I was,
being having your mom and then your grandpa get sick, I mean, that's a lot for anyone to handle, and being young and handling it, that's what must be even harder. And knowing that you were, getting high before that, of course, like, you're going to say, well, what else do I need to get high so I don't have to feel like this anymore.
right. Yeah, listen, I don't know how anybody else does it, but I just didn't know what to do. I mean, I didn't have really I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. So for the next couple of years, man, I mean, it was really, really bad. I mean, I was getting arrested a lot over and over and over. And the End result was that one of those kids that was with me in the rehab when I was little, he
Mm-hmm.
came out. He did a 5-year bid, prison, and he comes out and he sees me, and and he came to my house, and he was like, "Oh my god!" So I weighed like 116 pounds at the time. Um, I looked really really bad, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Dude, remember when we were little? Those AA meetings? Maybe we should try that." So I did. I went to a little AA meeting, and I cried, and it was very impactful, and I dove in. I dove into uh the young people. Like there was a big major young people movement in Miami, and like I got sucked in. It was awesome. I was hitting meetings. The dirty 30 is what we called it. At 10:30 at night, and we just
Mm-hmm.
we would do like the Denny's. We would do you know we would just do a lot of stuff. We would hit conventions and all of that. I worked a program. Um, there were some things that were missing. I found a sponsor that was everything I wanted in life. Like, he looked a certain way. He drove a nice car. People admired him, and when he spoke, man, you listened, right? And he had this importance about him, that I always wanted. Like, I looked up to, I admired it, right? And so he was my sponsor, and up until this point, I hadn't had a job. Like, I never had like a real job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he taught me basic life skills, because when you smoke crack,
You don't have any life skills.
there's nothing. So like ironing, and I had to comb my hair and like shave, and you gotta wake up like at a reasonable time, and maybe go for a run. You know what I'm saying? Like just basic things. The
Right.
way that I spoke, I had to start changing the way I would talk and present myself, and all those things. So he had like a lot of work to do with me, and we worked the steps, and then I started working with other people, and then look, my life changed. I got into business, and I maintained sobriety for 3 years. I went from never having a job to having a massive job. I was flipping houses. I mean, I had cars. I was doing a lot of things. I met the woman of my dreams, the woman that would later become my wife. I met her, and she didn't know me, right? Like she had no idea. It was a blind date, and I told her, look, I don't drink, and that was really cool to her, and I guess I sold her on the idea that I might be the one. So whatever. We were dating, and everything was beautiful. She moved in, and I lived in a neighborhood where nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew about my past. I mean, they knew, but they didn't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I'm 3 years sober. I stopped going to meetings as much because didn't really have time for the meetings. The sponsees would call, and oh my god, they have so many problems, and I don't have time right now. And all that stuff, and um, the inevitable happened. I put her before everything. I My neighbor, we went on a boat ride, and he said, "Look, you guys are getting married. We should." I proposed a toast, and I said, "You know what? I'll just have a little sip." And I had a sip, and nothing happened. I didn't go crazy, like I didn't bug out, and I didn't, like nothing happened. I just had the sip, and I was like, I won. I'm not an alcoholic. I knew it. Um, until the day that I did, you know. I had a
Right.
really, really, really crazy long day of, I make a long story short, I went bananas. And then for the next 6 years, I was out. And for the next 6 years, we had uh, three kids, two kids and one on the way. And I tortured and terrorized everyone in that house. I started another business that really took off. And so, look, I'm not the guy that was under the bridge. I'm not that guy. I'm a very, very functional, high functioning um, addict. But I sucked at life. Like I still sucked. Like I hated myself. You could not trust me. I was not the father that my kids needed. I was not the husband that my wife needed, um, or wanted. I um, I was garbage. By all appearances, yes, I had a whole lot of stuff, but that's what I felt made me. I
Right.
felt that that's what defined who I was. It was look at all this stuff, and the music at the time was Rick Ross and Lil Wayne, and look at my watch, and look at the thing, and look at this girl, and look at the thing, and more stuff, and there's more stuff. And I was really wrapped up into this, and you couldn't tell me shit because I had a whole bunch of money and I had a whole bunch of stuff and commercials and billboards and all that stuff. So, um,
I think that makes it even harder for someone who is struggling with addiction or alcoholism when they do have a job. My husband was the same way, had a job and was successful and went to school and, always had a place to live. And then my story was the exact opposite, where I totally, ended up homeless and got kicked out and wasn't allowed around my family. And so I always look at my husband and I'm like, it has been a lot harder for him to get back on track because he would say, well, I have all these things and I have a job and I have a car, so I must not be doing that bad. And so
mhm.
it made it a lot more difficult for him to come back in and get back into the program because he would think, well, I'm not doing so bad.
I know. Um, Aside from that, it was this just ego trip and this pride. Like you couldn't tell me shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if I knew you were right, which everybody was right, I wasn't prepared to listen. I wasn't capable of listening. So here's where the magic happens, right? I get a DUI, and then I get another DUI, and I'm in front of the judge. I'm facing 5 years, and I begged the judge. I said, Your Honor, listen, if you give me the opportunity to get better, I promise I can help other people. I don't know where that came from, but that's what it came down to. She put me in a program for the next 3 months. I was on house arrest. I had 5 year probation and house arrest. And I go to the treatment center and I confess to the therapist. I told the therapist, I said, listen, I'm selfish. At the end of the day, I mean, that's what it boils down to. I mean, yeah, I'm a drug addict. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I'm a womanizer. Yeah, I'm this, and that. But really, really, it's just that I'm selfish. I just don't give a shit about anybody. I don't care about anything, anybody. Like, I don't, nothing else matters except for me and how I feel. And she says, yep, I agree with you. So how are we going to change that? And I said, yeah, I don't know. She goes, well, I have a good idea. Why don't we work on being selfless instead of selfish, right? And I was like, well, shit. How do I do that? I'm in here. How am I supposed to pay for other people's things? And how am I? She's like, no, no, man. Why don't we start with you praying with other people? I said, whoa, that's a big one. I mean, that's all I had, right? I didn't have anything. Like I didn't possess anything. I'm in the rehab, right? And I ain't shit in the rehab, right? So like
Right.
I can't flaunt what I am. So all I had really with me was God. It was a great exercise because it taught me like that I had God. Like
Yeah.
when in doubt, right? So it was the weirdest thing, man. I would walk up to like the other people there in the rehab, and I'd be like, hey, man, I know you don't know me, but I'm about to go pray at this rock over here. Um, you want to pray with me, or maybe you don't have to say anything, and I can just pray for whatever intentions you might have. And yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. And whatever. So I started doing it, and so yeah, like I just kind of got into doing that. I came out. Oh, while I was in treatment, so I'm in the treatment center in August of 2012. and my daughter was born September 2012. I couldn't be there for her birth.
Yeah.
Um, my wife had the baby over the phone. Like we were on the phone, and it was man, like I that was one of those things that just killed me. Like, because I'm not really a bad person. I'm not. I know I'm not. I just made a lot of bad decisions, right? So, um, when I got out of there, I couldn't drive anymore. I sold. Um, I had a bunch of cars. I had to sell everything, and God did for me what I couldn't do for myself, right? He gave me the gift of humility by humiliating me, right? So like, or humbling me. I had to ride a bicycle. I went from a Maserati to a bicycle, right? And I would ride my little bicycle over to my little meeting. It was at 6 in the morning that I would have to ride my bike about half an hour, 45 minutes to get to the meeting. Now,
What did that feel like going from
the
having
best.
like was
It
it
was
like
awesome. I would ride that bike with a smile on my face from ear to ear because it was like finally like there is no more rat race. There is no more like I was free. Like I felt free. Um so I chose this meeting, a meeting at 7 in the morning because I knew that there was no one um uh I knew that if you were going to be at that meeting, you were serious about your recovery, right?
Mhm.
7 a.m. If you're at a meeting at 7 a.m., like you ain't playing. So I started hitting this meeting, the early risers group, and that became my meeting, right? And I really approached the program in a different way. I couldn't wait to start helping other people. So I picked a sponsor. I started working with the sponsor diligently. I mean, I read like crazy. And he explained to me that the way we're going to do the steps is in preparation for you to work the steps with someone else,
Mm.
for you to take them through the steps. So you have to learn these steps in a way that you're going to be able to teach them. And I understood that. So we really, really like studied the words, right? Like hard, and what the concepts were and the principles. And so alongside of that, we added some basic life skills, the emotional, mental, spiritual. We got into cognitive distortions, and how fucked up my thinking can be sometimes, right? Um, and so I wanted to really help out more, right? So my business is marketing and advertising. Um, I have. So anyway, I kind of like I threw out a 1-800 number to help
Mm.
people. I put out some YouTube videos and I started just telling my story, and people were calling, right, from all over the place, and it became like my thing, right? I would just talk to like people like on the firing line, right, and that was amazing. And then I wanted to help some more, so then um, me and a couple guys, we got together and we developed a basic life skills curriculum that we pitched to the drug court because I'm someone who knows the drug court very well, and I felt that they were lacking in some things. So we pitched that to them, and it went, and it hit, and it was very well, very well received. We've been a part of the drug court. I want to say 4 years,
Mhm.
and all of that's cool. Like, um, very rewarding, but I didn't feel like the intimate connection, with people. Um, I mean, yes, I would when I would sponsor guys, but I wanted to do more. So like, I had something presented to me. The idea of opening up a halfway house. So, long story short, I did that. Opened up a halfway house for men. We had 18 beds, and basically, whether you have money or not, whether we don't take insurance, so it was just bare bones. Look, we're gonna have 5 meetings a day. We're gonna do church. We're gonna hit you with Bible. We're gonna do all these things, and it's gonna be very structured. And we don't take no shit. And if you don't like it, get out, and that's it. So we became the last house on the block for people. We've been doing that for 3.5 years, 4 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so our halfway house is going very strong. I mean, it's awesome. We're recognized now, and people know who we are, and we made a name for ourselves because um, we've we've been consistent in the message and what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, um,
What is that like having a halfway house in Florida? Because I know you probably go through like having people come in and out and in and out. Are you like, do you go there and like, do you visit and check on the guys a lot, or and do you go in there and like, help them out or give them a ride, or how involved are you, with that in the halfway house?
I was way more involved in the beginning. I'm as involved as the clients want me to be.
Yeah.
So, like for example, if I have someone who calls me, I'm there. And I make it known. Listen, if you need me, I'm here for you. If you don't need me and you don't want me, or whatever, I'm gonna give you the space you want. We have a lot. It's a very strong community. So we have people that from the outside that come in and bring in meetings. That we have some guys there that have been there for 2 years. So it's a very strong community. Um, I don't, not that I don't need to be there as much, but I believe that now these guys have taken on the role, the big brother role,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is giving me more room to do some of the other things that I'm doing. Back when I first got sober, I had this. I'm sitting at home and I'm watching this, watching TV, and this Farmers Only commercial comes on.
Yeah.
You ever seen that? The Farmers Only, right? So
Yes.
Farmers Only dating, right? It's a dating website for farmers, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me! Like this is crazy. And I was like, man, I wonder, I wonder if there's anything like that for us, right? Not that I was looking, but I was just intrigued by it because I mean, I'm a business mind. Like I'm just constantly spinning the wheel. So anyway, I look up these uh dating sites for addicts and alcoholics, and there were some, but they were like really old and prehistoric. Like they were like just not pretty. Like it was just bad. And I was like, wow, no kidding. So I started buying up a lot of domain names, and I had these great ideas, but my other business was really, really taking off. I'm in the personal injury space. That's really like my main business. So anyway, that business is taking off, and I'm doing all kinds of really cool stuff with that. So I didn't really pay that any attention, right? It was just like an idea that came and went, and
Uh-huh.
it's always been on the back of my mind because I sponsor a lot of guys, and the common theme is, dude, all right, so what's up? When do we start dating? Like, what's up? Like so, like in a co-ed meeting, you're never gonna hear that, but
Right.
one on one, I can guarantee you, we're talking about that shit, and
Right.
and it's important because it's real. Like that's what life is, dude. Like look. So I got better. I look better. I feel better. So what's up? Like I'm ready, right? So where do you go? Like
Where can you find somebody? Yeah, that's like
where are we
gonna be
supposed to
like
go,
you, that understands you.
dude? Where are we supposed to go? So like I'm sponsoring these guys. I'm sponsoring one guy in particular, and this guy's awesome. Like super good kid. I mean, I was about to say this is my best friend, right? One of my best friends. Um, this this young man, was sober for 3 years, and says, dude, I've never had a girlfriend. Like I never really had a girlfriend, and I'm ready. And he's on these like dating sites, right? And he's like, hey, look, I'm going to meet this girl at a bar. What do you think?
Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's super cute.
It's my little
So
nugget trying to play
I
the
love it.
piano
I
behind
love
me.
it. I have three of them, and they're back there somewhere. So he's like, look, I'm gonna go on the date. I'm going to this bar. What do you think? And I'm like, well, bro, listen. I mean, I'm not the arbiter of anyone's sexual conduct, but I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. So say you like her, say she likes you, and say you gotta go on a second date. So at what point are you gonna tell her that you're an alcoholic? Are you
Right.
gonna wait? Are you gonna wait and set her up to fail like later? Like what? Like when do you do that? Because that's not fair. At the same time, that sucks for us to walk into any situation with a fucking label that says, "Hey, I'm an alcoholic. What's up? Nice to meet you."
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's been like this whole toss up, right? And then he would next date, next person, he'd be like, "Yeah, man, I just, I'm in the girls' bathroom, dude. It smells like weed in here. What do I do?" And I go, "Well, my man, look, you got an option. You got two options. You can stay there and do your thing, or bro, you can leave. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. That's on you. You put yourself in that predicament. But now you better make the right decision because this decision can jeopardize your life, like in the worst way, right?" Um, so anyway, we get into talking, and I was like, "Man, I had this great idea, for a dating website." And he goes, "What are you gonna do with a dating website? People use apps now." And I was like, "Oh shit, I wonder what that is." So, um, over a conversation, Castle was formed. Castle is a dating site for people in recovery. So Castle stands for Clean and Sober Love, right? And
Listen,
it's for
I
people.
remember when y'all first started it. I think it was when y'all first started it because Brad had messaged me and was like, "Hey," he sent me a shirt. Like this is probably
Oh
two and a half
yeah,
years.
so I sent you the shirt, yeah.
This is like 2 years ago. He sent me a shirt. Like
Hmm.
I want to say maybe a year and a half, and he was like, "It's clean and sober love," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "I would have never thought." But then let me ask you this, because this was my thought. Okay, so I guess I always think like, what
And
about?
let's get into the controversies. It's okay. Go for
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
No, no, you tell me. What is it?
Okay, because I was like, well, they tell us not to date in our first year of recovery, right? So say you wait a year, but then you have all these alcoholics and addicts that are on this one application. I
Hmm.
mean, honestly, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I'm being straight up with you because I was like, what it's like I could just imagine it being like some craziness happening, like people meeting each other and then going out together and relapsing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure. So we thought about that, of course. And here's my school of thought. Not everyone in recovery is in their first year.
Yeah.
Not everyone in recovery is still sick. Yes, uh, we have the disease, but I'm not in active disease, right? Like I'm not actively drinking, right?
Right.
Um, so so in your first year, first of all, to clarify,
Like
nowhere in our
in my
literature.
first year,
Uh-huh.
how would I, like, if I was on the app, because I'm married, so you know how that is. But if I was on the application and I was looking, I would be looking as a woman for someone who had been sober for over a year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And I'm sure now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I'm sure people that are going on to the application are thinking the same way too. They already know because they are clean and sober and they have an idea of what they're looking for in someone else, you know?
So, and I take your point absolutely. So, a couple things. The first point that I want to make is nowhere in our literature does it say anything about staying clean for 1 year.
Right.
Nowhere. That is something that we came up with somewhere along the line, and it makes sense. But here's the problem: that's not realistic. If I'm single, and this is me working with tons of young people over all these years, uh, that's close to impossible. You're basically asking someone to be a to come into a monastery,
I
right?
know. To
So
be a
that's
nun.
not that realistic to me. You're almost setting people up to fail. So here you are, here you're coming in, right? You're coming off of dope. You're coming off of smoking weed. You're coming off of cocaine. You're coming off of drinking, right? We just told you that you sucked at making decisions, right? And you come in, and now we're telling you, listen, you got to come to a meeting every fucking day. And by the way, you can't drink and you can't drug. And hey, oh, and you can't have sex.
Right. I know what you mean. It's a lot of stipulations. And I do see a lot of people that, I mean, they're not trying to fail, but those things do catch them up because they end up like, getting drunk or getting high and then, or hooking up with a bunch of girls and getting into a relationship. And it's not even the girl that's a bad problem. It's that I don't know how to be in a healthy relationship. So I'm going to obsess over that person and call them all the time. And so I know it's
So
just
the
a
thing is that
suggestion.
you can say that though about virtually anything. See,
Yeah.
if if I got in a relationship and then I broke up or whatever happened, and I decided to have a drink, well, what's the difference in that situation? Then I got a job 3 months after I got sober, and they fired me, and I decided to drink. There's no difference.
Right.
I,
Right.
the here's the one single thing that remains. I had a drink because I decided to.
Right.
Not because anybody made me, not because anybody, probed me. At the end of the day, my desire to drink was greater than my desire to stay sober.
Right.
Period. Not
Right.
a
That's
one.
just an excuse. I get it. That's just like saying, "Oh well, I got high because my my husband left me." Yeah. It's just an
Right?
excuse for a reason to drink or get
Exactly.
drunk. Yeah.
So again, now I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that yes, I think it's a great idea for people to in their first year to go ahead and get in a relationship. No, that's not what I'm saying. What
Right.
I'm saying is I think that we should get rid of and forgive me for saying this, but I believe that saying, that school of thought, the 1 year uh, constitutional amendment that was made to
Mm-hmm.
the 12 steps. I'm sorry, but I think that that's watered down AA. I don't believe that that's what AA really is. I believe that what AA really is that you come in here and you do these steps fast, right? And hurry
Right.
up and start working with someone else so that you don't stay sick. You know,
It's kind of
and
like the whole thing where some people will say, well, and I've heard this said before too, that you can't sponsor somebody unless you have a year sober, which I know is not the truth because
again, watered down AA.
because
That's
Bill
garbage.
didn't have a year sober when he started helping people, and they designed it for us to get through them, like you said, get the relief, get to healing, and then go right back into giving back to others because that's what helps us stay sober.
So, so watered down AA. What I mean by that is this: the treatment center industry came in the Midwest, early. I want to say in the 50s, where we had a big boom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had these curriculums, and they had these fixed ideas. They had these Christian ideas, which look, I'm super Christian, I'm super Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
and you had a lot of things now being thrown in. So you had two different worlds, right? You had what was happening in New York, and then you had what was happening in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
You had people like Clarence Snyder, who had this view of what AA was, and this is just a little AA history. This is the guy that was responsible for the AA meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Clarence Schneider has this one direction where it was the whole Jesus thing, and they kind of ran with that Midwest and all of that, and then Bill went to New York, and that's the AA that we know now. What's in the book is that AA,
Mm-hmm.
but you have those different schools of thought. So a lot of these things that were that have been injected into the steps, it's all good. That's fine. And if it works for you, listen, no problem. All power to you. But at the end of the day, um, our goal is to stay sober, right?
Right.
And we achieve that by working the steps diligently, honestly. Um, there's this part in how it works where it says, these steps are meant to be suggestive only.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit. That means you gotta bust your ass and do these steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in working these steps, we learn how to communicate, how to build relationships. We learn these basic principles of honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, brotherly love, um, trust, hope. You know, it's important that in the beginning, when you're building all these different relationships with people in the rooms, which, by the way, um, consider that it's not just, I mean, look, with that mind frame that you shouldn't date or anything like that, consider this. Even if you have friends that are in the program and you
Mm-hmm.
become very, very close friends with, you're still talking about a crack and a heroin addict. What are you going to bring them over
Right.
to? Same thing. Like, what? I don't know. Like, you
That would
have
be
to,
basically saying like we can't even hang out with each other because we're all like, yeah,
with that frame of mind, you can't really, really be friends with anybody there because everybody's out to get you.
yeah,
Um, Listen, trust and hope. Trust and hope. If we work the second step and we work the third step, in the second step, I got some hope, right? This belief that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. That's hope. He
yeah,
can. Maybe if I allow him in the third step, trust. I have to have trust. And trust is turning my will over to him. But bro, that's fucking hard, especially in the very beginning. I just got here, right?
mm-hmm.
So,
Can I ask
uh,
you a question? Because one of the viewers has a question and it relates to trust. So,
yes.
Amy wants to know, she says, how did you and your wife deal with everything? Did you
Mm.
start over in your relationship? And did you build trust and love again?
That is such a great, 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 great question. So this is what we did. So I was doing a lot of one-on-one therapy with myself. Then we started doing couples counseling. Then she started doing counseling because I did a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
There was a lot of trauma. There's a lot of PTSD. And so she started. So we were doing therapy 3 times a week. We did this for a year and a half. Um, I was able to confess, make amends, and I put it all out on the table. She, um, I think that she saw, the where I was in my recovery, and how much I was willing to change. So here's an example. I could leave my phone out.
Hmm.
I couldn't do that before, right? I was that
Right.
guy. Um, I was an open book, like I had nothing to hide anymore. And I had to do my part, right? I had to make her feel comfortable. And I had to rework that into our relationship because she never had it. So, if I said I was gonna be somewhere, I was gonna be there and I was gonna call when I got there. And I made sure I wasn't out anymore, period, at all. Like at night, no need for it. I was home with the kids. And if she called, oh, I was gonna pick up the phone. There's no reason why I couldn't pick up the phone. If I was gonna be in a place that I wasn't gonna have phone reception, sweetheart, I don't think I'm gonna have phone reception. I don't have any bars. Just letting you know. So for the next 5 minutes, like I was just, and if she questioned me, I'm not gonna get defensive. There's a real good reason why you're questioning me. So whatever it is, you go for it. And I didn't give her the reason to doubt. Like, so it's funny because like just the other day, um where was I?
It
Oh, I
sounds
was
like you put in a lot of work to show her, and you did your part by
Oh.
saying, because I know I'm a woman, and I when me and my husband, because we got sober together, I was
Hmm.
so afraid, and I was the same way. Like, if he left his phone out and he would grab it up, I'd be like, oh my God, he must be talking to somebody else, you know? And so that shows that you were doing work on your part to show her, like, hey, I'm going to change, I'm going to be better, we're going to work through this together, and then go into counseling. You'd be surprised, I'm sure you've heard how many people, how many men are like not willing to do those counseling sessions with us girls, and usually it's the woman who's
And
like,
vice versa.
yeah.
Vice versa, yeah. Yeah, listen, it's um I can tell you this, that the more work you put into the relationship, the better off you're going to be. Now, here's the other part of it. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. You know what I mean? Like, if the both of you aren't willing to go, to any length to change your lives, well, then, you're going to just, look, I'm so grateful that she gave me the opportunity to change. She always knew that I could be someone else. I think that's why she stuck around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, like I live. Oh, somebody. So one of my business partners dropped this one on me like a couple years back. He says, "Oh, because I was crying about some shit, and like I was like, oh, my wife this, my wife that." And he goes, "Let me ask you a question, man. Um, do you uh do you think about her as it? Would you die for her?" And no, yeah, he asked me, "Would you die for her?" And I go, "Bro, of course." And he was like, "Damn, but you were just shitting all over her, like a second ago. But you would die for her?" And I'm like, "Of course." And he was, "Well, would you die for her every day?" And like that was the like I like what that means is that every day, if I consider that way of thinking, would I die for her every day? Well, what does that mean? What does that entail? Like, that means that I will do anything for her to make sure that she's okay, right? Like, I have to. No, don't get me wrong. Look, that we fight, and we argue and all of that shit.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely hold her to a different standard. Before I just didn't have any conception of what people were to me, right? And I didn't get their importance. So
Do you find it like it, since she's normal and you're an alcoholic, do you ever find yourself like feeling like you can't relate or share certain things with her, or have y'all gotten to a point where you can share anything with her and you're just like, doesn't matter if she's normal and you're an alcoholic, you guys are just one?
well, so that's a two-part question. I don't see that the normal and like, so, like, someone with cancer, I wouldn't say that they're not normal. I would say that they just have cancer. I think that I'm normal in every respect except for the fact that I have a little problem with getting high. No, I'm normal too. Like, everybody has their deal. So I believe, no, but I'm saying that in this respect, that so she has her deal too. Like, we all have our things, and we all
Like
have
our
our things that
vices.
we all have our thing. Um, and with that, uh, there's things that I should only seek if I'm looking for help, guidance, strength, support in something specific to men. Well, then I go to a man, for that. But typically, I mean, my wife and I are pretty open. I mean, she fully understands this program. I mean, I have people from the halfway house at my house a lot. She's,
Hmm.
you know, um, wrapped her arms around this world, and has a lot of empathy for us. And we talk a lot. And this is my best friend. This is the person that I can depend on. So we're good. But yeah, I mean, look, we both have our deal, like no doubt about it. Everybody does. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Here's the benefit, though. The benefit that we have is that we have a program. We have a set of principles. We have some steps. We have people, a fellowship, um, that we can go to. So, like, I
We're the
have
lucky
people.
ones,
We are
you
actually.
know?
It's
I
it's so
agree.
crazy. It's so crazy because, like, when I consider what someone who is normal, when I consider that they have to like go through things on their own, that sucks.
Right, right. And we have this fellowship of amazing men and women that can relate to us, and when we relate to each other, like I agree. Like I feel like it's a gift to be able to be in the NAA or NA, like being able to have other people who understand what it's like to struggle, and we all like you said, we have the steps to help us learn how to relive our life and get better. I totally agree. I think it's just amazing, and I feel like I'm so lucky to be able to be a recovering addict, you know.
Me too. Me too. I do too. I'm so I talked about hope, trust, and I want to talk about his grace and mercy. So, like, if he had so much mercy on me, um, you know, gave me all these opportunities, one after another, after another, after another, and I'm grateful for it. In order for me to live in his grace, I have to be grateful. I can only show my gratitude by living for him and serving him. That's how we show gratitude. I'm gonna do for you. And living in his grace means that I have to work with other people that are just as sick as I am and who need help. Um, so with that mind frame that I'm just I need to constantly look for the next person who is sick and suffering.
Hmm.
Um, my perception is usually like I'm usually like this. Like what you see right now is who I usually typically am. I mean, um, I'm even keeled on like at this level of happiness. Um, I don't. And when I'm not, is because I'm not serving God the way I need to. So, I this program. So I'm a big. I love God. I'm very big into that part of the work. I know that it's a big turnoff to a lot of people. Um,
Well, some
all I can.
people, but I believe in my higher power is God, and I try to be open minded for other people's higher power. But all I know is that God performed a miracle in my life, and I I don't know how to explain it any other way. That the fact that I'm here, that you're here, that we're all here, living and breathing, is a miracle, you know.
Mhm.
So I can't help, like, I just, on YouTube and on social media, everyone wants to be politically correct and not hurt anybody's feelings, but like, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, God saved me. God saved you. You
Yeah.
know?
Look, I understand the whole politically correct thing, and I'm with you. Listen, here's it's my belief, and look, I'm super Catholic. I'm all about that. It's part of my story. I'm also a part of another fellowship with my church where we do retreats. We do a lot of retreats, and the goal of that retreat is to bring people to Christ, right? So we bring you into Christ. Now it's up to you. You do whatever you're gonna do with that. So I've been a part of that movement, and it's been a beautiful thing, but for a couple different reasons. One, in the beginning when people come into the program, that understanding of the higher power. I love explaining that because it's kind of easy for me when I look. Oh, you as an example. So you know that feeling that you have for your kid. You have
Yes.
one or two.
When.
Okay. So that feeling that you have for your son, you have a boy, right?
Yep.
That feeling that you have, right? That feeling, I can't fuck with that, right? Like I can't come and tell you, hey, listen, you shouldn't have that feeling, right? I can't come between you and him. I can't. That love, right? That feeling of love is a power greater than me, no doubt about it. No one can come between that love that you have for your son. No one. That is the definition of a power greater than you and me. It's a power greater than ourselves. Love in
Yeah.
itself is a power greater than us. So, with that concept that love is greater than us, well, I believe that God is love because He had that mercy, and I try to live in His grace. So, God is love, which is a power greater than myself. It's a very easy way for me to understand it. I don't battle it anymore.
That is a really good way for me to explain it. Like I've never thought of it like that, and because I always want to make sure when I'm sharing with other people that I share so that way I don't want to turn anyone away. I want them
I
to
know.
come to the message. So
I
a
know.
lot of times I'll find myself kind of watering down the way I feel about my connection with God because I
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that I don't ever push anyone away. By
Right.
and so that explaining it as love, that is the most amazing analogy I've ever heard. You know, to I've never thought of it like that. Thank you.
No problem. Here it is. Look, I have a lot of issues with my faith sometimes. Like I don't live this perfect Christian life. I'm. It's hard, man. It's hard walking this walk, right? And but the one thing that I don't have any issue with or anything like that is that connection, right? That love. Because I can always go back to any time that I've been in need or, my ass is on fire. And then somehow or another, which I can't explain, um, I'm like back in his good graces. Somehow or another. Like I got through it. And I can't explain it. It's not because I deserved it. It's not because I planned it. I can't explain it. It's a phenomenon that it's really a miracle. It's not a phenomenon. It's a miracle. It's a miracle that we're here. Every time I go to a conference, an AA conference or an NA conference, so I was at the NA World Convention in Orlando last year, and all I can think about was, dude, there were like 30,000 miracles walking around, right? Like, if you think about that, like 30,000 of those people were half dead. That in itself is a miracle that we had this opportunity. We didn't deserve it. Not with any of the actions we took, not with the way we reacted to life, not with our decision making. We didn't deserve it, so why? Why? That's the miracle. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, I'm I love this program. Like I'm all in this program. I mean, I hit my meeting. I changed it from a 7 a.m. to an 8 a.m. meeting now. I hit, but that's where I'm at. I listen to a lot of speakers. I do a lot of speaking myself. I take guys through the steps. I read as much as I can. I I mean, my whole life is recovery. It really is, and because of it, my family has a dad and a husband. Um, but even more important than that, man, I'm the spiritual leader of my house. You know, and we've all been benefiting from what AA has given us. So yeah. Um, you have any questions? Anything else?
Well, let me see. I'm because I saw a couple of people ask something in the chat, but I just want you to know, like, You have really gotten me excited, like rekindled that fire inside of me because I love hearing people share their story. And I don't mean to get emotional, but it gets me so excited to see other people who are doing so well and helping other people. And, I mean, it's so amazing. And I love having, just hearing that makes me so happy to hear it. We are all miracles, just
Amen.
30,000 people all in one place at one time. I can just imagine the feeling that you must have felt. It must have been amazing to have all those people there and
And
looking around. It's like a sea of people, a sea of miracles.
right, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Um, and try to explain that to someone else who doesn't
Nobody else could
know.
ever understand. No, I
No
totally
one
get it.
else. If you don't listen, if you've never been dope sick, if you've never been tweaking, if you've never woken up where you're not supposed to wake up, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
You know, only us that have had the tragedies, happen to us, understand what that means. We are miracles, no doubt about it. We are miracles. So how do we repay that which was so freely given to us? We gotta bust that ass. We gotta
Right.
bust that ass. We gotta work with other people. This is awesome what you're doing here. Because um, anybody in their first year or in their first months or in their first 30 days, and they catch this. Not that what I said was so profound, but just the idea that two people these days can do this and spread the message,
It's
worldwide.
awesome. So many people,
Amazing.
it's like people come on here just on the YouTube, and some people, they can't, maybe they're sick, maybe they're older, maybe they got to the place where they can't really, maybe they live, I have a lot of people who watch the channel who live in rural areas and they don't have transportation, so they'll come here and they can sit. And what I'm trying to do is have a speaker every Wednesday on the channel, so that way it's like having a speaker meeting. Come in, sit down, listen to some good stuff, and then it's just, it helps. And you would be so, I mean, I was surprised how many people would reach out and say, thank you so much for putting that video up, because I live in an area where there's not a meeting close by and I can't get there.
Yeah, like I said, when I first wanted to help people and all that, I started with the YouTube videos and everything, and I had people from all over the states, coming here, um, to they would let me help them. And yeah, look, I want to applaud you for what you're doing. I think that this is great. You'll have all the support from me and Castle and anything that I'm a part of. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask.
What I need you to do for me is let everyone know where they can find you, and then when we hang up here, I'm going to link all your stuff in my description and in the comment section. But right now, let everybody know where they can find you: Instagram, YouTube channel, all that.
Yeah, so we have our Instagram is at Clean and Sober Love. Our Facebook is Clean and Sober Love. Um, but you can download the app on the App Store, Clean and Sober Love, or the
Uh-huh.
Google Play Store. The app is completely free. The app isn't just for dating. Listen, if you want to just, you know, meet people, you can do that too. Like it's not necessarily just for dating. You can use it for whatever you want as long as you're clear about your intentions. I think it's important. We also have a directory on the app. So, for anything sober, right? Anything clean and sober, like, treatment centers, outpatients, sober products, podcasts, anything you can think of in sobriety, we have a spot in the directory. It's what helps us fund the app because it is completely a free app to use for the user.
Mhm.
But that's the way we fund the app, right? So the directory, it helps us stay afloat, and it provides something free. So clean and sober love, basic, www.cleanandsoberlove.com. And we also have some YouTube videos. It's all, but again, it's all clean and sober love. So you can just type that in anywhere, and we'll pop up for sure.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to list, like I said, I'm going to link all your stuff in the description and put it down on the comment section when I upload this video. I want you to know, thank you so much. Have officially been my first guest for the next, now it's going to be every Wednesday. So thank you so
Vale,
much
Queen.
for coming on my channel, taking a chance on Real Talk Recovery.
Oh,
And I really, really do appreciate it.
I'm proud of you. Thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless all of you who's watching right now. Just keep your house clean, and that's that, man. God bless.
Thank you. I'll see you later.
Cool. Bye.
Bye. Woo! We did it! Yay! Did you guys like that? Okay, I love you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to jump off here and I'm going to upload this video and I will jump back on to chat with you guys afterward, okay? I love y'all. I hope you have a great night.